a destined fight that it needs to happen in Fairy Tail, and obviously will happen, I feel, in this series, is Natsu's E.N.D versus Gray Fullbuster in this series. Now today's video especially, we are going to be talking about the theory that I have, especially on how this fight will go down, some predictions on it, and also as well what is actually going to be the end come out of this. Will Natsu and Gray die at the end of this? I don't think so, but hear me out. So we need also to get to the situation of how exactly does this trigger, and I feel like Gray is going to find something out about him being E.N.D. Maybe he might encounter Zera for all, maybe he might hear like one of the many few Spriggans that are out there, maybe he actually comes across Inbel at some point because Inbel is across it. Although they're not obviously in the same different like parts of the country right now, so maybe there might be a situation where like they cross paths, or maybe one of the other people that we do know about might actually tell him about E.N.D. Natsu. Whether the case or not, he is probably going to find this out somehow, some way, and when he finds out the person that he's actually been hunting around like all along, E.N.D, that he wanted to beat all along to avenge his father, Gray is going to snap, even if that is one of his close friends, Natsu. Finding out all this time that it was just like he was man-made by like Seraph himself, that he is a demon, like Gray is absolutely going to snap. And I feel like, especially how Natsu is in his condition right now, although he might be smiling, I feel like if you push him in another fight or so, and especially with like Gray trying to do this, and I feel like especially with the weakening seal, like obviously like Igneel was there to pretty much contain them from turning into dragons, but obviously since Natsu is kind of mixed in with the dragon stuff and then the demon, I feel like this is where we're going to get this hybrid form end from. And of course in this form I feel like Natsu is pretty much going to lose all reason. I think he's just going to be acting like a wild monster, if anyone can compare it, like especially like the Four Tails like in like Naruto, when it went absolutely nuts when Naruto had to do that, when he just had the demon form like that. I imagine this is going to be the case. And what people's depictions of what E.N.D is going to be looking like, mainly seeing like having the dragon wings, having the scales on the face, having the horns, this is definitely something I really see that what exactly he's going to look like when he transforms into E.N.D. The question is though, how exactly are these two going to fight? Like who's going to be the victor? What's going to be this fight pretty much be going down to? And I can definitely guarantee you the one thing that is definitely going to end this fight, I feel, is definitely going to be Gray's ice shell ability. Now you're thinking like, wait, how is it going to be the ice shell of all things? Like Gray, every time we've seen him attempt to use it at the series, or even say, no, I am going to do it, he's never done it. Something has always interrupted him, and I feel this is the one time that he's actually going to use it. But you'd be like, well, doesn't the user die after this? But hear me out. I believe, as much as the way, like, I feel like Gray is too important now into the series, like, especially, like, the one that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, and then we're never going to see a Gray death at all, is when we saw him die during the whole part of the Grand Magic Games. And the thing that's actually going to use this, and actually be able to use Ice Shell without killing himself, I believe, is that power that he only acquired during the Tartarus arc, his Ice Devil Slayer. This being used, like, sort of the catalyst, this, I believe, is going to be what he needs to actually use this, and somehow not exactly, you know, give up his life. I imagine this is going to like physically just exhaust him. He probably won't be able to fight anymore, because let's be honest, like, if you think about this entire arsenal that Gray's got, you know, he uses a lot of imagination stuff, like a lot of inanimate objects he's able to make. Obviously, like, the other powerful things that he has in his arsenal is the Ice Devil Zero Destruction Bow, which we saw him actually use on the strongest member of Tartarus, Mardgear. That exactly was able to pierce through him, and not to mention he's got the Ice Devil like longsword as well. But it's like, even if you think about this, do you really think these things are going to have the same kind of effect like they did on Mardgear than they are going to have with Natsu E.N.D? Like, don't forget about this. Gray had to team up with Natsu to even take him down, and in the end, it was actually up to Natsu to finish off the job. I'm not making like a Gray at all. I still think like Gray is enjoyable, although he's not my favorite character out of everyone in Fairy Tail. I really do enjoy him. But if you think about it, that's definitely something like, you know, that might need some work on, I believe, if Gray's going to take him down. And I feel like it is going to come down to, like, if Gray's like, well, if I can't beat you, I'm going to seal you. Or not, like, maybe if the catalyst of this version, this one is not actually going to permanently seal them, like what the Ice Shell is supposed to do, then I feel like basically at this point of the series, there's like a weaker version that ends up having to use his Ice Devil Slayer ability. This is going to seal Natsu for a while, but then this might actually be able to like actually put away the E&D form, and that could possibly come back at some point of the series. Because you think about this fight, Natsu, with like every depiction that we see him in, with the wings, with the horns, with the scales, Natsu is going to go absolutely ballistic. We already know what his powers are. Whether or not I doubt he can actually access his other, like, his Lightning Dragon, like, fire mode. Like, I doubt he can access that. Neither can he probably activate the Fire God Slayer, stuff like that. Like, I doubt he can access any of that. It's just going to be raw, just Fire Dragon style that he's going to be using this. Like, I imagine just pure destruction. Even him just using the raw is going to be absolutely insane. Now, whether or not this is going to be the same power level or near that power level of the Dragon King mode, like when we first saw it against Zereth, like where he like accumulated the 10 months, I don't actually know if it's going to be as strong as that. I feel though it's going to be on that ballpark of that level because, I mean, he was able to maybe finish off of Zereth. So fucking happy got in the way. But you think about, like, exactly when, like, Gray and Natsu, I said, were equals. I say they were equals during, like, maybe the Tartarus arc. I'd like to say that was when they were actually equals, when he acquired the Ice Devil Slayer powers. Because, in the end of the day, even though it did take Natsu to finish off Manga, the two were working in coalition against this guy. Not to mention Sting and Rogue even had a pop at this guy. It took almost 4 people to even take down Manga. Like, Natsu, with his roar, with his talons, with his Iron Dragon fist, you know, he's got all the situations that he needs. If he needs to counter something at like a very long range, he's got the roar. If he needs to go up close and personal with like Gray's sword, he's got the Iron Fist, he's got his like talons, he's got the wig, like he's got everything he needs to combat any kind of situation. And I'm pretty sure he may be able to still use the like the Crimson Lotus technique in a demonic way. I believe that's my situation with it. And we've always known that like Natsu was an absolute brute when it comes to like hand-to-hand combat. Like whenever he's actually tried like punching someone, he's like always had kind of like really good agility. He's always had really good like strength, and that he can definitely take some blows. And I feel even with like adding onto the dragon like scales onto this as well, I feel definitely this is going to be something that's going to contain him. Whether or not this is like, how exactly is this like going to give like Gray the option to actually use Ice Shell? I imagine Lucy is probably going to get into this situation and knows this, and maybe like Natsu maybe hears her voice and actually starts like, you know, he calms down a little bit. He's like, you know, what's going on? I can hear a familiar voice. What's going on? And this is where Gray is going to use this opportunity to either like blindside him, or he's going to use the Ice Shell ability. Don't forget, that is just a theory that I just come up with. Don't forget as well, that's just a situation I'm pretty sure many other people have already thought before, but I'm just adding my own 2 cents into it. And I definitely think this is the way that if these two do definitely have a fight, which I feel could happen maybe like, I believe we like in a year or so we could have this. Maybe I'd like to say 30-40 chapters, because don't forget Fairy Tail does go through very fast paced stuff. I mean, like fights never like really that long. Like sometimes they're like to a month, sometimes 3 chapters like that. Like fights are never exactly too long, especially from what we've seen so far of the Spriggan 12. But this fight could probably take over, I'd like to say, a volume's worth and all that, because I feel like this is something important that might actually happen on there. So I believe it could be about like maybe 4 to 5 chapters, like maybe might into a volume's length or so. The question is, who do you think would win? Do you think it'd be Natsu E.N.D or Gray? Let me know in the comment section down below. And also as well, what do you guys think of this theory? Do you think I'm right with this situation? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm spewing bullshit? Like, what do you think is going on with that? But it's like, honestly, it's just my 2 cents and all that, and just honestly, just thinking about it, like, I think generally think this is what's going to happen. But if you love Fairy Tail as much as I do, love the theories, all that stuff, then you hit that like and you hit that subscribe button, because guess what? We're going to keep doing them more, and they all are going to be coming out to the Monday to Tuesday period, because, you know, gotta love that Fairy Tail. That's all from me though, so I've been Savagezweipanda, and I'll see you guys next time.